Alright, hello and welcome to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trilogy. It just came out on Steam actually. It's the PC port of, I assume, the first 3 games? I think. And also on Switch as well. But I just got it today and, well, it's probably one of my favorite games ever. You know? Probably one of my favorite game types as well. In the same vein as like Zero Escape games at Professor Layton, but even better because, you know, because it has like visual novel-esque elements as well as puzzle-solving mechanics, which, like even in the same genre, is unique, right? I don't think there's anything else like Phoenix, right? Except maybe, well, except Danganronpa, that has very similar mechanics. But other than that, the way it kind of intertwines puzzle-solving elements and the story itself, you know, is, well, it's like pretty amazing. I love that like unique game mechanic where it's kind of like you're solving the mystery along with the characters, right? You really engage in the story and it's very immersive, I think. And it's been a while since I played this, actually. I've pretty much forgotten most of it, I think, but I probably jogged my memory a little as I play. But anyway, when I play it though, I'll try not to like just spoil everything, obviously, right? Because that's the point of playing these types of games, to figure it out as you play, right? And, you know, alright, let's just go! Wow, no game. Okay, so there's 3 games, so yeah. Ace Attorney, Justice for All, and Trials and Tribulations. Well, obviously we're gonna play in order. Episode 1, The First Turnabout. Oh, it vibrated a little. Someone like him? And I'm gonna read most of the text aloud. At that point I didn't really read it though, because it kinda like, you know, it kinda like automatically, you know, progress, you know, without me having manual control of the text, because otherwise, you know, I might start reading and then the next text box already went by. Anyway, it's August 3rd, 9:47 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. And we're Phoenix. We have a court record apparently. I mean, you can look. Can I? Which one's it? This one? This button? I have an attorney's badge. Obviously, we're a lawyer. No one would believe I was a defense attorney if I didn't carry this. It looks like a cookie. A cookie. There's Cindy's autopsy report. Time of death, July 31st, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Cause of death, loss of blood due to blunt trauma. I guess that's what we saw in the beginning there. Alright. Boy, am I nervous. Right. Here's Mia. Oh, hiya, Chief. I'm glad I made it on time. Well, there's a little bit of lip syncing as well, so it's kind of weird for me to like read it aloud. I don't know. I usually just read things aloud though, when it comes to visual novels. Well, I have to say, Phoenix, I'm impressed. Not everyone takes on a murder trial right off the bat like this. It says a lot about you and your client as well. And throughout the game, we're pretty much gonna do I think almost all the cases are just murder mysteries, right? Thanks. Actually, it's because I owe him a favor. A favor? You mean you knew the defendant before this case? Yes. Actually, I kind of owe my current job to him. He's one of the reasons I became an attorney. Well, that's news to me. I want to help him out any way I can. I just really want to help him. I owe him that much. More vibration. I guess there's a lot of vibration than I thought. Okay, who's saying this? Question mark, question mark, question mark. It's over! My life! Everything! It's all over! Is that You client screaming over there? Yeah, it's him. Death, despair, Zetsubo. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna die. It sounds like he wants to die. Yeah. Nick! Hey there, Larry. Dude, I'm so guilty. Tell them I'm guilty. I guess Larry Butts. You know, a lot of these names in Phoenix Wright, they're kind of like puns, I guess. And that's how it was in the Japanese, translation. Or rather, well, in the original Japanese language. And then it got localized and everything. I always found the name Larry Butts, though. What do you mean, like his butts? Anyway, give me the death sentence. I ain't afraid to die. What? What's wrong, Larry? Oh, it's all over. I'm finished. Finished! I can't live in the world without her. I can't. Who took her away from me, Nick? Who did this? Oh, Nick, you gotta tell me. Who took my baby away? The person responsible for your girlfriend's death? The newspapers say it was you. You're the murderer. My name is Phoenix Wright. Yeah, and speaking of like puns, his name, I guess, yeah, is Phoenix Wright. As in, I guess he's a phoenix, and also he's right all the time, I guess. But his Japanese name used to be, or rather, it was, I believe, Naruhodo Ryuichi. I believe Naruhodo means like I see or I understand in Japanese. And it's interesting how they localize everything. Again, like how they have little puns for the character names. Some of them, again, kind of I feel like doesn't make any sense. Like Larry Butts. I don't know if that's a pun or not. Anyway, here's the story. My first case is a fairly simple one. Yeah, she's dead. A young woman was killed in her apartment. The guy they arrested was the unlucky sap dating her. Larry Butts. My best friend since grade school. Our school had a saying, when something smells, it's usually the butts. I mean, I guess farting? That's the joke they're going for? I wonder what the original translation was. Like the original Japanese? Probably more clever than butts? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. In the 23 years I've known him, it's usually been true. He has a knack for getting himself in trouble. One thing I can say, though, it's usually not his fault. He just has terrible luck. But I know better than anyone that he's a good guy at heart. And I owe him one. Or, I read that wrong. That, and I owe him one. Which is why I took the case, to clear his name. And that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to be his lawyer. August 3rd, 10 AM, same day. But, it's to start the court proceedings, I assume. Everything looks a bit, I don't know. I remember seeing Phoenix Wright, maybe my memory's kind of like, foggy, but I remember like everything being like sprites, right? Everything's like spritey, or I don't know what the word is, like, like game sprites. Like pixely, I guess? Yeah, that's the word. But everything's like line drawn now. I guess this is from like a, I believe there was a phone port, right? There was like, it was ported to the phone, and then maybe this is the same game, but for the PC now? I'm assuming. Anyway. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Larry Butts. Okay, here's Payne. How does he sound like? The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. I think that's how he sounds like. You sometimes, usually there's no voice acting, but you do sometimes when they, obviously, famously, when someone yells objection or whatever, you kind of hear their voice. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, this is your first trial, is it not? Yes, Your Honor. I'm, a little nervous. Your conduct during this trial will decide the fate of your client. Murder is a serious charge. For your client's sake, I hope you can control your nerves. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, given the circumstances, I think we should have a test to ascertain your readiness. Oh, accidentally hit my desk. Yes, Your Honor. Yeah. Hand shaking, eyesight fading. It's your first time. Pretty, make you nervous. The test will consist of a few simple questions. Answer them clearly and concisely. Please state the name of the defendant in this case. Well, obviously, it's me! I'm the defendant! No, that's Larry Butts. Mia Fey? Oh, yeah, that's our... well, I don't know. What's our relationship with Mia Fey? I don't think they said it. I assume... advisor? Partner? Anyway, defendant is Larry Butts. We're defending him. He's accused of murder, but we're gonna prove that maybe he isn't? Well, that's Larry Butts, Your Honor. He's the defendant. Correct. Just keep your wits about you and you'll do fine. Next question. This is a murder trial. Tell me, what's the victim's name? Oh, I know this one. Glad I read the case report cover to cover so many times. Well, obviously, and we can also just always look over here, right? Cindy autopsy. Well, I mean, it doesn't say she's the victim, but obviously autopsy, it's implied that she died, so... It's, wait, uh-oh. Phoenix himself forgot, though. No way, I forgot, I'm drawing a total blank here. Phoenix, are you absolutely sure you're up to this? You don't even know the victim's name? Oh, the victim! Of course, I know the victim's name. I, just forgot, temporarily. I think I feel a migraine coming on. Look, the victim's name is listed in the court record. Yeah, that's what I was looking before. Is there a way to look at... yeah, here, okay, I didn't see that, but... there's a way to look at other people's profiles, as in, like, character profiles. Obviously, Cindy Stone, age 22, victim in this case, model, live in an apartment. Defendant is Larry Butts, and Mia Face is chief attorney. Yeah, oh, it's our boss, actually. I was wondering about that. And here's Winston Payne, or, I guess, our enemy. For this court case, the prosecutor. Just press tab, check at any time. Well, I'm pressing a shoulder button, actually. What do you kids call it these days? Trigger button? Yeah, trigger button. Anyway. Remember to check it often. Do it for me, please. I'm begging you. Mr. Wright, who's the victim in this case? Well, obviously, it's Cinderblock. No, it's Cindy Stone. The victim's name is Cindy Stone? Correct. Now tell me, what was the cause of the death? She died because she was... poisoned. No, she was hit. She was struck once by a blunt object. Only once. You gotta pay attention to the details, because I think, yeah, she was hit once. Interesting. You've answered all my questions. I see no reason why we shouldn't proceed. You seem much more relaxed, Mr. Wright. Good for you. Well, thank you, Your Honor. Because I don't feel relaxed, that's for sure. Well then. First, a question for the prosecution. Mr. Payne? Yes, Your Honor. As Mr. Wright just told us, his Payne's voice, I don't know. As Mr. Wright just told us, the victim was struck once with a blunt object. Would you care to explain to just what that object was? The murder weapon was the statue of the thinker. How do I do his voice? He sounds like Toad, basically, I think. Toad from, like, Mario series. It was found lying on the floor, next to the victim. I see, the court accepts into evidence. Statue added into the evidence. In the shape of a thinker. It's really heavy. Right. Be sure to pay attention to any evidence added during the trial. That evidence is the only ammunition you have in court. Use tab, or not tab, but it is, I guess, well, I don't know. Maybe, if for whatever reason my controller breaks, I can use the keyboard instead, I guess, so maybe that's still useful. Anyway. Check the court record frequently. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its first witness. The prosecution calls the defendant, Mr. Rutz, to the stand. Chief, what do I do now? Pay attention. You don't want to miss any information that might help your client's case. You'll get your chance to respond to the prosecution later, so be ready. Let's just hope he doesn't say anything unfortunate. Uh-oh, Larry gets excited easily. This could be bad. Ahem. Mr. Butts. Okay, how does he sound like that? Is it not true that the victim had recently dumped you? Hey, watch it, buddy! We were great together. We were Romeo, Juliet, Cleopatra, Mark Antony. Didn't they all die? I wasn't dumped. She just wasn't taking my phone calls or seeing me ever. Was it to you anyway? Mr. Butts, what you describe is generally what we mean by dumped. In fact, I'm losing the pain voice. I don't know how to do his voice now. In fact, she had completely abandoned you and was seeing other men. She had just returned from overseas when one of them the day before the murder. What do you mean, one of them? Lies, all of it, lies. I don't believe a word of it. Your Honor, the victim's passport. According to this, she was in Paris until the day before she died. Okay, passport. The victim apparently arrived home from Paris on July 30th, the day before the murder. She just came home. Indeed. She appears to have returned the day before the murder. Dude, no way. The victim was a model but did not have a large income. It appears that she had several sugar daddies. Daddies? Sugar? Yes, older men who gave her money and gifts. She took their money and used it to support her lifestyle. Hopefully I'm not peaking the mic a little. When I do these ridiculous voices, I tend to make the volume a little too high. I can't control myself. Anyway. Dude! We can clearly see what kind of woman this Miss Stone was. Tell me, Mr. Bats, what do you think of her now? Right. I don't think you want him to answer that question. Yeah, Larry has a way of running his mouth in all the wrong directions. Should I? Wait and see what happens or stop him from answering. I mean, probably stop him? Probably a good idea. On the other hand, we could just see what happens. Either of these options might backfire. But let's try. Let's be like a good defense attorney, Don't let him say incriminating things. My client had no idea the victim was seeing other men. That question is irrelevant to this case. Ah, Vince. Dude, Nick, what do you mean irrelevant? That cheating she-dog. Wow, how quickly his opinion changed. I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna drop dead. Yeah, when I meet her in the afterlife, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. Let's continue the trial, shall we? I believe the accused's motive is clear to everyone. Yes, quite. Oh boy. This is not looking good. Next question. You entered the victim's apartment on the day of the murder, did you not? Good. Well, did you or did you not? Well, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Uh-oh, he went. What do I do? I mean, if we're gonna clear his alibi, we're gonna have to make him answer honestly, I feel like. If he's truly innocent, we gotta get the facts straight, I think, and let him say what he needs to say. Maybe? Or maybe I'm underestimating how Larry Butts can dig himself a grave, but generally, honesty is the best policy. I know, I'll send him a signal. Okay. Tell the truth! With my poses. Yeah, I was there, I went! Oh, well. Order. Well, Mr. Butts. Dude, chill. She wasn't home, man. So I didn't see her. Objection! Your Honor, the defendant is lying. Lying? The prosecution would like to call a witness who can prove Mr. Butts is lying. Well, that simplifies matters. Who's your witness? The man who found the victim's body. Just before making the gruesome discovery. He saw the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime. Order! Order in the court! Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its witness. Yes, Your Honor. This is bad. On the day of the murder, my witness was selling newspapers at the victim's building. Please bring Mr. Frank Sight to the stand. Frank Sight? Did he see it? Mr. Sight, you sell newspaper subscriptions, is this correct? How's he sound like? Oh yes, newspapers, yes. Mr. Sight, you may perceive your testimony. I'm gonna have to give a lot of voices. I'm not a good voice actor, as it turns out, but there's a lot of characters in this game, so... Please tell the court what you saw on the day of the murder. Witness testimony. And this is the meat of the game, isn't it? I was going door to door, selling subscriptions, when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought he must be in a hurry, because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead. I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. The man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there. Larry, why didn't you tell the truth? Or, I can't defend you against a testimony like that. Assuming he's telling the whole truth, this Mr. Frank Sight. Incidentally, why wasn't the phone in the victim's apartment working? Your Honor, at the time of the murder, there was a blackout in the building. Okay, another factor in this. Well, aren't phones supposed to work during a blackout? Yes, Your Honor. However, some cordless phones do not function normally. The phone that Mr. Sight used was one of those. Your Honor, I have a record of a blackout for your perusal. Okay, electricity to Miss Stone's building was out from noon to 6 on the day of the crime. Now, Mr. Wright. Yes, yes, Your Honor. You may begin your cross-examination. Cross-examination? Your Honor? What's that? Alright, right. This is it. The real deal. The real meat of the game. What am I exactly supposed to do? Why, you expose the lies in the testimony the witness just gave. Lies? What? He was lying? Your client is innocent, right? Then that witness must have lied in his testimony. Or is your client really guilty? How do I prove he's not? You hold the key. It's in the evidence. Compare the witness's testimony to the evidence at hand. There's bound to be a contradiction in there. First, find contradictions between the court record and the witness's testimony. Then, once you've found the contradicting evidence, present it and rub it in the witness's face. Okay. Open the court record, then point out contradictions in the testimony. Let's do that. Alright. I mean, again, yeah, this is like one of the best parts about Phoenix Wright. Comparing like how to like figure out like what exactly is going on with this person's testimony, exposing lies, and it's kind of like, you know, logic solving basically. So let's see, what's his testimony? I was going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. And we can, let's see, we can present, we can also press, I think, yeah. Which one is it? Is it this one? Yeah. Hold it. You can ask questions about his testimony and make him, you know, make him say more things so we understand more. Isn't a man living in an apartment a common sight? I find it odd you would take notice of him. I don't know. He just seems strange to me, that's all. Like he was mad and yet frightened at the same time. Just like a criminal fleeing the scene of crime. The defense requests the witness refrain from conjecture. Of course, what the witness means is that the man he saw looks suspicious. So, what happened next? Okay. It's kind of weird, you know, the testimony is like, we already heard the testimony, but then it's like, kind of like, we're hearing the testimony again. Anyway, I thought he must have been in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Yep. And pretty much, you know, for most of the game, you do this like testimony thing, and you pretty much press almost all of them, all the sentences to see what happens, but, well, later on that might change, but we'll see. Half open, you say? Yes, the door was open halfway, yes. I watched for a moment, but no one came to close the door. That's odd, in a big city like this, I thought. I see. And what happened next? No man. Okay, he's in the thing in there. I look inside the apartment. What gave you the idea to do that? Well, the door was half open, you see. Isn't it only human to want to peek? We climb mountains because they are there. It's the same thing. True words have never been spoken. Anyone will look inside. Why did pain cut him off so quickly? Okay, and look in the apartment. What happened next? Then I saw her lying there. Are you sure she was dead? Well, no, I guess I wasn't. But she wasn't moving at all, and there was blood everywhere. I guess that would look fatal to anyone. Very well, what happened next? Quill and Fright finally managed to go inside. So you didn't touch anything in the apartment? Yes, I mean, no, nothing. Okay. I thought to call the police. You thought to call the police, does that mean you didn't actually call them? Please, listen to the rest of the testimony. You thought to call the police, then... Okay, so they was just referring to that. The phone in her apartment wasn't working. Yes, I mean, no, it wasn't, right. Okay. But you said you didn't go into the apartment, or did you? Oh, that. I can explain that. There was a cordless phone on the shelf in the entranceway. I reached inside and tried using that to call. And that phone wasn't working, correct? What happened next? They kind of repeat that, saying, what happened next, and what happened next? I guess I don't need to read that part, but I kind of like, I automatically read it anyway. So you went to a nearby park, okay. Why use a public phone? Well, you see, I don't have a cell phone. I mean, yeah, that kind of make, well, at the time this game was made, that would make more sense. You know, these days, everyone has cell phones, but back then, not so much. And being in the middle of the afternoon, there was no answer to nearby apartments. Alright, what time did you call again? I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. 1 p.m., are you certain? Yes, absolutely. He seems really confident. 1 p.m. Right. Doesn't that seem strange to you? Hint, hint. This is like a tutorial case. So, we gotta, like, ease the player into the mechanics. Present some evidence to contradict them. Yep. Is there anything else? The man who ran was without that, the defense, there. Well, we can press that as well. Why not? Are you absolutely 100% positive? Yes, it was him. No mistake about it. The witness says he's certain. That's all of it. There must be a contradiction in there somewhere. Examine the court record. If something is suspicious, present it with evidence. Alright. Pretty obvious which one we need to do, though. That's what Mia hinted. Time. 1 p.m. What's the court record like? So apparently he called the police at 1 p.m. with a public phone. Okay, this is the part where I'm like, wait, what do I do again? Yeah, okay. Cindy's autopsy report. Time of death, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. That makes no sense. If he called the police at 1 p.m., that would be before she died. And, well, yeah, that makes no sense. Assuming that autopsy report is not lying, I mean, usually it isn't. It's not very an exact science to figure out, exactly when she died, but for the most part, as long as it's not like a weird kind of death, then the autopsy report, we'll just have to rely on that. Let's go! Sweet, sweet objection. You found the body at 1 o'clock p.m., you're sure? Yes, it was 1 o'clock p.m. for certain. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. Your statement directly contradicts the autopsy report. The autopsy notes the time of death at some time after 4 p.m. There was nobody to find at 1 o'clock p.m. How do you explain this 3-hour gap? This is trivial. The witness merely forgot the time. After his testimony, I find that hard to believe. Mr. Sart, why were you so certain that you found the body at 1 o'clock p.m.? Gee, that's a really good question. Great job, Wright. Way to put him on the spot. That's all you have to do. Point out contradictions. Lies always beget more lies. See through one and their whole story falls apart. Oh yeah, I like the music. One of my favorite soundtracks ever. Wait, I remember now. Would you care to give your testimony again? Okay, a new testimony. You see, when I found the body, I heard the time. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? I guess the victim must have been watching a video of a taped program. That's why I thought it was 1 o'clock p.m. Terribly sorry about the misunderstanding. I see. You heard a voice say the time on the tape program. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Right. You know what to do. I've got this one. I mean, I've already noticed what's wrong, but you know. For the most, I mean, I like seeing all the dialogue if I can, so I'm gonna press all his statements anyway. Ba-bam! You said heard, not saw, Mr. Side. Yes, heard. All I saw was the body lying there. I didn't think to look at anything else, least of all my watch. Isn't that a little strange? You're saying you heard something. But if you're so shocked by the body, you wouldn't hear anything at all. The witness did say he actually heard the time. It's ludicrous to suggest he wouldn't hear anything. I have to agree with the prosecution. Witness, continue. There was a voice coming from television, you say. Are you sure it was a television and not a radio? Well, no, I guess it might have been a radio. Incidentally, there was no radio on the premises. There was only one large television. Right. I can't put my finger on it, but something about this seems fishy. Something about hearing the television. And the only thing there was a television, right? Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? How do you explain the gap? Well, witness, can you explain this? I guess, yeah, the victim has been watching videotape, yeah. A video? Yes, that would explain why the time was wrong. Oh, videotapes. Again, pretty old game when you think about it. Videotapes, they don't exist anymore. True, true. Right. I think the problem lies someplace else. We've agreed that you heard the time of the scene then. That's why I thought it was 1 p.m. Are you sure the voice you heard say was 1 p.m.? Yes, I can practically hear it now. It was quite clear. Mr. Payne, has the prosecution verified this testimony? My apologies, Your Honor. I too have only just heard that the witness heard the time. Or learned, rather. Oh, I'm really sorry. I only remembered it just now. Well, you just watch it. Well, not much point pressing him on that one, I guess. Okay. Well, the problem with a television, I mean, it makes sense, sort of. You know, television, it's 1 p.m., right? And there's no radio, there's nothing else that would suggest that he would have heard the time. Normally you would look at the clock, but he's insisting that he heard it. What's wrong with that? Well, we look at the time, autopsy, he's just saying he got the time wrong, right? But you see, there's something else related to time, and that would be this blackout record. Apparently, the building was out of electricity from noon to 6 p.m. Unless she had a television that was battery operated, which I don't imagine she did, that would be impossible for him to hear anything out of the television. So here you go. Objection. Hold it right there. The prosecution has said there was a blackout at the time of the discovery. And this record proves it. You couldn't have heard a television or a video. There's a wig. The defense has a point. Do you have an explanation for this, Mr. Sawyer? No, I find it quite puzzling myself, quite. Wait, I remember now. Mr. Sawyer, the court would prefer to hear an accurate testimony from the very beginning. These constant corrections are harming your credibility. That, and you seem rather distraught. My apologies, Your Honor. It must have been the shock of finding a body. Very well, Mr. Sawyer. Let's hear your testimony once more, please. Actually, I didn't hear the time. I saw it. Okay, changing it again. There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, the murder weapon the killer uses to hit the victim. That must have been what I saw. You saw a clock. I guess that would explain it. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Gladly. It's a weird testimony he has. Didn't hear the time, I saw it. That strikes me as a very suspicious mistake. Yes, I can see how you'd be a little doubtful. I'm really sorry, I only just remembered that table clock. A table clock. There was a table clock, I guess. A table clock. Was there a clock at the scene? This is the first I've heard of it. The murder weapon. The murder weapon? Yes, the table clock that was used as a weapon. That's why I just said, did you doze off in the middle of my testimony or something? Something's fishy. That must have been what I saw. Why did you tell us that in the first place? I guess it just slipped my mind. I'm not really sure how it happened myself. The witness says he saw the table clock. End of story. Now, find the contradiction. Well, what is the murder weapon? Cause like loss of blood due to blunt trauma? I mean, actually, I'm a little confused. Actually, a little bit, because because I guess it's supposed to make you confused. Because why is he conflating a table clock with a murder weapon? That makes no sense. Okay, hopefully this one's correct because I might be presenting in the wrong line here. But let's see, because I'm trying to think. I'm trying to say like she died because of blunt trauma, but we don't know what the murder weapon is, right? So why would you know? Oh, okay, that was wrong. Shit. No! Shimata! Oops. I lost some health points. No, okay, this is the hard, like, this is the weird part about fitting. Sometimes you're trying to like present the stuff in the wrong thing. What was okay? A murder weapon? I mean, we kind of know what the murder weapon was just by, I mean, we kind of know that this was the murder weapon, right? Because we kind of saw it, right? We saw it in the beginning. And also, yeah, now that I think about it, because I was thinking, like, was this confirmed as a murder weapon? It doesn't say in the court record here, but I think Payne did say that this was the murder weapon, actually. So yeah, okay, I was just overthinking it. Because I was, I was trying to think, like, I don't want to, like, get ahead of myself. Yeah, that's the biggest thing about Phoenix Wright. Getting ahead of yourself is a bad idea if you're not confirming the facts with the court record and what's already happened in the story. But anyway, but I think this is the solution right here. Wait just a moment. The murder weapon wasn't a clock, it was this statue. Now, how is this supposed to be a clock? You with your objections, with your evidence, just who do you think you are? Just answer the question, Mr. Sight. Hey, I saw it there, okay? That's a clock. Your Honor, if I may. Yes, Mr. Payne. As the witness stated, the statue is indeed a clock. The neck is a switch. You just tilted and it says the time out loud. As it doesn't look like a clock, I submitted it as a statue. My apologies. So it is a clock after all? I see. So the murder weapon was a clock. Well, Mr. Wright, it appears that the witness's testimony was correct. This is a clock. Do you have any problems with his testimony now? Yes. How did he know it was a clock? And also, how did he know it was a murder weapon? For one, Your Honor, there is a gaping hole in the witness's testimony. The only way he could have known the weapon was a clock is to hold it in his hand. Yet the witness testified that he never entered the apartment. Clearly a contradiction. Indeed. The witness knew it was a clock because he went into the apartment. Yeah, I can only assume. You're lying. You were inside the apartment on the day of the murder. Oh yeah? Prove it. Prove I went there. I'll do better than that. I can prove you were the one who killed her. Oh, how convenient. You struck her with the clock, and the shock of the blow triggered the clock's voice. That was the sound you heard. Order in the court. Intriguing. Please continue, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. As you can see in the first scene, as we open the game, the first case, we kind of got spoiled on who it was in the first place by looking at his, overall picture over here. But anyway, Mr. Sard, the sound must have left quite an impression on you. Understandable, since the murder weapon just spoke as you hit the victim. That voice was burned into your mind. That's why you were so certain about the time. Ooh, what's the meaning of this? This is all baseless conjecture. Baseless? Just look at the witness's face. Would the witness care to elaborate? Did you strike the victim with a clock? Hey, that day I never. Look, the clock, I heard, I saw. Shut up, I hate you. It was him, I tell you, I saw him. He killed her, and he should burn, give him death. That's his wig. Or no, it's not a wig, it's like a toupee, I guess, that's what it's called. Order in the court, I say. Your Honor, a moment, please. There isn't a shred of evidence supporting the defense's claims. Mr. Wright. Your Honor. You claim the sound the witness heard came from the clock. Do you have any evidence? The whole case is riding on this. I better think it through carefully. Your Honor, the sound Mr. Sod heard was definitely this clock. A fact which is clear if you simply... Ask the neighbor? No, they weren't here. Examine the clock's batteries. That makes... I mean, I guess it's this one, to confirm what it sounds like in the first place. Right? Maybe? Yeah, well... Most likely... the clock has... Well, let's see. Honestly, I don't know if this is the correct answer, but it's the most likely one. You know, that's what you tend to do in the multiple choice questions. I think it's this one, the third one. Because we'll hear what time the clock will say, right? Let's sound the clock now, here in this court. Your Honor, may I have the clock? Ask the court to listen very carefully. Beep. That certainly is a strange way to announce the time. 8:25. Well, he is a thinker after all. So we've heard the clock. What are your conclusions, Mr. Wright? Mr. Payne, can you tell me what time it is now? It's 11:25. Ah! As you can see, this clock is exactly 3 hours slow. Precisely the discrepancy between what Mr. Sawit heard and the actual time of death. So, Mr. Sawit, try to talk your way out of this one. I'm crazy. You forgot one thing. Oh, what's he talking about now? Well, it may seem like the clock is running 3 hours slow. It proves nothing. How do you know it's running 3 hours slow on the day of the murder? If you can't prove that, you don't have a case. He's right. How am I gonna prove that? Darn it, I was so close. Mr. Wright, it seems you lack the critical evidence to support your claim. Yes, Your Honor. This means I cannot let you indict the witness, unfortunately. This ends the cross-examination of Mr. Frank Sawit. I come all the way down here to testify, look what happens. You treat me like a criminal, You lawyers are all slime. Ah, I almost had him. Sorry, Larry. I failed you. Well, game over. There's nothing I can do about it now. Not so fast, Mr. Sawit. Nani? Chief! Listen up, Wright. Don't throw this one away. Not like this one. Not like this. Think. But, Chief, it's over. I can't prove the clock was slow the day of the murder. Nobody can prove that. Well, yes. But that doesn't mean you can't still win. Try thinking out of the box. Don't waste time doubting the facts. Assume the clock was 3 hours slow and think through it. Ask yourself, why was the clock 3 hours slow? Figure out the reason and you'll have your proof. Right? 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 Can you think of a reason as to why the clock would be 3 hours slow? I can think of one. It's called time zones. So what would cause a time to be different, right? Wait, maybe I can prove it. You must have evidence somewhere that can prove it, right? Find it, and let them have it. Well, Mr. Wright, you say the clock was already running slow on the day of the murder. Have you found evidence to support this claim? Of course. There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can prove my claim beyond a doubt. Tough words. Let's see how you pull this one off. Let's see the evidence that proves why the clock was running slow. Well, it's not this badge. Her time of death proves nothing. We learned the statue was a clock, but that's the object of what we're trying to prove. That why is it slow? Well, this is the only thing we haven't chosen. The victim apparently arrived from home on Paris on July 30th, the day before the murder. So, the fact that she came from Paris, I think, the funny thing about the localization, technically the original Phoenix Wright games, they take place in Japan, so I don't know if it's Paris to Japan or Paris to whatever, but apparently we're in America in the English version. So I don't know what's the exact time zones, but we can only assume it's because of that difference That's what caused the clock to be slow. And we can look at this one too. I was thinking maybe the blackout as well, but you know, the statue is battery operated, right? I can only assume, so blackout wouldn't affect it. So it's probably the passport. The victim had just returned home from abroad the day before the murder. As we all know, the time difference between here and Paris is 9 hours. When it's 4 PM here, it's 1 AM the next day there. The clock wasn't 3 hours slow, it was 9 hours fast. Oh. The victim had reset her clock since returning home. I didn't know exactly what the difference was, but I guess it's good enough to actually make that connection, you know. That's why the time you heard when you struck her dead in her apartment was wrong. Proof enough for you, Mr. Saw It? Or should I say, Mr. Did It? You know... You know, usually, I was gonna say, like, usually the localization, you know, it tends to be when you translate from Japanese games to overseas, localization sometimes tends to be really bad, you know? For example, like Pokemon, Rice Balls, or Onigiri was called Donuts in the 4Kids localization. But I gotta say, the Phoenix Wright localization, there might be some like small problems with it, but otherwise it's pretty good, I think. You know, it keeps the charm, right? So overall, I think it's pretty good. Anyway, order, I say. Well, this case has certainly turned out differently than we all expected. Mr. Payne, your witness? He was arrested, has been taken away, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? I have to say I'm impressed. I don't think I've ever seen someone complete a defense so quickly. And find the true culprit at the same time. That's usually not the case in real life. You don't do that, it's weird. Thank you, Your Honor. But this is a video game, so it's fine. At this point, this is only a formality, but... This court finds the defendant, Mr. Larry Butts. Not guilty! Yay! And with that, this court is adjourned. It turns out that Frank Saw It was a common burglar. He posed as a newspaper salesman to check and see when people were out of the house. That day, when Larry went to her apartment, the victim wasn't home. After he left, Mr. Saw It let himself in to do his dirty work. While he was searching her place, the victim returned. Flustered, Mr. Saw It grabbed the nearest blunt object he could find and killed her. How unfortunate. August 3rd, 2:32 PM. Still can't believe we won. Right, good job in there. Congratulations. Oh, thanks, Chief. I owe it all to you. Not at all, not at all. You fought your own battles in there. It's been a while since I've seen a trial end on such a satisfying note. I've never seen the Chief looking this happy. If she's this glad, imagine how Larry must feel. Well, let's see. He's really sad. My life is over. Larry, you're supposed to be happy. What's wrong now? Oh, Nick. Don't worry about me. I'll be dead and gone soon. Oh, good. Wait, no, I mean bad. Bad, 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 bad. Larry, you're innocent. The case is closed. But my Cindy Windy's gone, man. Gone forever. Larry, she was a... Nah, never mind. Hey, congratulations, Harry. Harry? Yes, you. I can practically see the headlines now. Harry Butts. Innocent. Oh, okay. Now I get it. Harry Butts. That's why they put his... Alright. Well... Again, I did play this game before a long time ago. I've forgotten a lot of it, though. I've never remembered Harry Butts. I don't think it's ever mentioned again, but I guess that's why he was named Larry Butts. It's just for that instant. That single pun. Thanks, I really owe you one. I won't forget this, ever. Let's celebrate dinner, movie, my treat. Oh no, I couldn't. Hey, I was the one who got you off the hook. Oh, hey. Here, take this. It's a present. A present for me? Wait, wasn't this the evidence that... Oh, actually, I made this clock for her. I made one for her and one for me. Really? You? You made this? Well, thank you. I'll keep it as a memento. Yo, Nick. Can you believe it? I was so into that chick. And she was just playing me for a fool. How'd that make you want to cry? Larry. Are you so sure? Squeeze me? I think she thought quite a lot of you in her own way. Nah, you don't gotta sympathize with me. It's okay. Oh, I'm not just sympathizing, really. Isn't that right? Don't you have something to show your friend? Something that proves how she felt about him. Huh? Oh, yeah, right. What the heck is she talking about? Okay, yeah, there's like... Almost in every case, I believe, there's like one final thing you can do that, you don't have to get it right, but, you know, it's so you can get like, you know, something a little extra. But it tends to be the hardest thing about the case, you know, ironically. It's not the case itself, it's the actual, like, final thing you need to show someone. Yeah, I don't know what to show, sometimes. But I believe... Well, I mean, I believe it's this one, right? The idea that she kept his present this whole time, right? Even though apparently she was involved in other relationships, she still kept his present. Maybe? Unless there's something else. It's the fact that she died. No, I think it's this one. Hopefully I'm right. You don't get a second chance, ironically, because it's like optional, so... Here you go. Check this out, Larry. Proof positive you weren't just some chump to her. Huh? What about that clock? This is the clock you made for her, Larry. And she took it with her when she traveled. Whatever. She probably just needed a clock, that's all. You think so? It's a pretty heavy clock to take traveling. Well, make of it what you will. Hey, Nick. I'm glad I asked you to be my lawyer. Really, I am. Thanks. Oh, that made him feel a little bit better. Right? I hope you see the importance of evidence now. Also, hopefully you realize things change depending on how you look at them. People, too. We never really know if our clients are guilty or innocent. All we can do is believe in them. And in order to believe in them, you have to believe in yourself. Right. Listen, learn and grow strong. Never let go of what you believe in. Never. Well, I think our work here is done. Shall we be off? Yeah, I guess so. Say, how about dinner on me? We'll drink a toast to innocent butts. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Harry, you were saying part of why you became a lawyer was because of him. Yeah, part at least. You'll have to tell me more about it sometime. Maybe over drinks? And so, my first trial came to a close. Larry slapped me on the back and said, "Gee, Nick, it's good to have friends." But I'm pretty sure he's not gonna pay us. We just did it for free. We're like pro bono, I guess. Is that what it's called? You know, pro bono? Basically lawyers who, you know, work for people who don't have money in the first place, so we do it for free. For the most part, I don't know, but sometimes you get compensated by the government, I think. Anyway, unless you get to count the clock you gave me, I didn't know it then, but that clock was soon going to be at the center of another incident. And my promise to tell the chief about me and Larry would be one promise that I wouldn't be able to keep. Oh no. How ominous. But for now, case 1 is completed. I guess it was basically the tutorial quest, you know? It's the tutorial quest to help you grasp the mechanics of the game. This is where the real Phoenix Wright starts. pretty much. Less hints. Save progress. Yeah, episode 2, Turnabout Sisters.